I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council, the successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Regular meeting agenda for Tuesday, October 16th at 6 p.m. The City Council chambers. If we can have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Hamby.
Here.
Councilmember Kasner-Howdigi.
Here.
Councilmember Wharton.
Here.
Councilmember Nava.
Here.
Councilmember Couchman.
Here.
All right, thank you. And next is our invocation by Father Ed Horning. Father Ed, if you can please lead us in our invocation.
Lord God, we gather once again, and you're the source of all life, love, and friendship. We humbly ask your blessing upon all here present, and we give to you our city and all of its inhabitants, that we may grow in knowledge and love of you and in the virtues. Deliver us from any danger and help us to love one another as your word commands us to do. Grant your wisdom and your gracious benediction and blessing upon all of our council members, elected officials, and all those who serve the city of Brawley. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Father Ed. Mr. White, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Father Ed, and thank you, Mr. White. All right. So next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Well, I would ask that we withdraw item 3C. Would you please consider that 3C from consent, please?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the agenda after removing item 3C.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And just for the public's knowledge, item 3C on the consent was withdrawn by the applicant, so no need to consider that item. All right. Next item on the agenda is item 2, public appearances, comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is a time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Is there anyone here who would like to make a comment before the City Council? Please come.
Dana Mendoza, and I'm
Dana?
here on behalf of the Brawley Cattle Call Queen Royalty Association. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for your approval of allowing us to have our event at the Lion Center. I know that some of you were there. It was a packed house.
Fantastic.
It was amazing. And with that being said, I would also like to introduce to you our 2018 court.
Fantastic. If they could come up, please, the 2018 court. Mr. White, you're part of that court? Or no?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Brandy Whittle as our 2018 Cattle Call Queen.
Brandy, hello.
Riley Locker is our 2018 Teen Queen.
All right.
Cheyenne Cox is our 2018 Junior Queen.
All right.
And Calista Lopez is our 2018 Little Miss.
All right, little minutes.
So we look forward to spending the next year with you, and we'll be seeing you at all the events. And I would like to say one thing for Mr. Nava. We had several girls that ran for, one of the questions that came up in the contest was if they knew who their mayor was, what city did they live in and who their mayor was. And your name was mentioned several times, so we're putting out a challenge that if that comes up next year, you gotta be at the event.
Okay, well, I have a gift for these girls, and it's just a simple gift from the City of Brawley. It's a little lapel pin, City of Brawley lapel pin. So there you go. All right, that's your official. Now you're official. They're made in China. They're really well.
Picture?
No, thanks.
Want a picture? You gonna get a picture? Do we want to go down there too?
Should we?
You guys want to go?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, let's take a picture with
Yeah, 'cause we didn't-
Mayor, coming
We
down.
just took a group picture.
Yeah. I didn't wear my suit because no one told me.
All right, big smiles, everyone. All right. Congratulations.
You did a great 1 year.
Congratulations to you. Good job. All right, that's fantastic. Glad they enjoyed themselves. All right, is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment before the city council on any item that's not appearing on the agenda? Is there anyone else? I believe there is.
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
How are you?
Good
Come on up.
evening.
Good evening.
My name is Sylvia Castañeda. I reside here in Brawley, 274 I Street. And I also have a business, Sylvia Little Treasures on Main Street. This is Susan Cerveza.
My name is Robert Garcia.
I just want to introduce, there's a few more, but they couldn't make it because of other things that were going on. I started a little committee. We had a meeting already. We are called Beautifying Our Old Town. And we are just kind of, we want to go down to our local businesses and ask them if they want to decorate their windows. Holiday doesn't have to necessarily be Christmas. And so we can have, maybe invite the community out to come and see our displays. Maybe make it into a little contest, trophy first, and, decorating. We've already got 6 businesses that are signing up. We have, just give us another name, sir. We have David Garcia. We have Donna Rose, Roseanne Courier. We have Luke Camby, who's also on our committee. Daisy Flores, Robert Garcia, David Vargas, Judith Araiza, who couldn't make it today, and we have Susie Godinez. So this is kind of just what we want to do, just to start it. I know it's not maybe going to be huge, and and we just would like if also the city can help us with anything. We really appreciate it. And our next meeting will be on Tuesday, and we're all coming back with more ideas, maybe more people that they've contacted, the other members, and hopefully we can invite the community cruise down Main and all with window displays and maybe lights. That would be a goal that we would like to hopefully do.
Well, thank you very much for the information, Ms. Castañeda, and we certainly will, keep in touch with Mr. Hamby, Councilmember Hamby, and I'm sure he's going to participate, but certainly anything that we can do to help, we're going to, so
Okay.
appreciate it very much. Thank you for coming out here and introducing yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment? All right, seeing none, I will move on to the consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with item C being withdrawn, so I'll approve the consent items A, B, D, and E. Is there a second to that?
Second.
There's a second. There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Move on. Next item is regular business. Item 4A, discussion potential action to accept the City of Brawley audited financial statements for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2017. Backup materials on pages 73 through 180, and that's going to be presented by a couple folks here, but we're going to start off with our finance director.
Good evening, Mayor Nava, Rosa Ramirez, Finance Director. Tonight we have the 2016-17 audited financials to present to you and acceptance. The City of Brawley has completed its various audits for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2017. The audits were conducted by the Certified Public Accounting of BTD. The audit reports prepared consist of the annual report and the single audit report. The city was audited on its governmental activities, business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate fund information for the City of Brawley. The auditor's responsibility is to express an opinion on the presentation of the City of Brawley's financial statements. The opinion provided was unmodified, which is the highest opinion that auditors can give on financial statements. The city's financials reflect 8 audit findings for the June 30, 2017 audit period. Management has compiled a corrective action plan moving forward with implementation dates to address the audit findings. However, please note that some of the corrections for the findings have already been implemented. As a brief snapshot of the general fund, at the close of fiscal year 2016, the general fund reports to have used 1.8 of its reserve fund balance, decreases the general fund balance to 1.811, as stated on page 53 of the annual financial report. This balance includes $842,000 in program capital projects, as council might remember, a one-time installment payment of $103,000 for the Settlement Regional Water Quality Control Board, and a one-time solution to bridge a $268 gap between general fund revenues and expenditures. Total general fund expenditures were within the adopted budget amount. However, actual general fund revenues received were under the projected estimates amounts of $668,000. And tonight we have Mr. Phil White from the firm BTD, our auditing firm. He will review and highlight some aspects on the audit.
Thank you. Mr. White, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. In your packet, you have 4 deliverables. You have an annual financial report, you have a single audit report, corrective action plan, as well as a 3-page letter. It's a required communication with governance. I would like to draw your attention to page 175 of your packet. That is the 3-page letter, the required communication. The first paragraph highlights our responsibilities as the external auditor. I would like to highlight that the auditor's opinion on the annual financial statements is an unmodified opinion, a clean audit opinion. As you move down that page under significant audit findings, the second paragraph highlights key estimates that are included in the city's financial statements. The second bullet highlights the pension liability and related deferred inflows and outflows. That is a significant estimate that is included in the city's financial statements. On page 176, there are 2 disclosures that are highlighted and included here. The first one is Note 11 on page 124 of your packet. Note 11 deals with the city's participation in the pension plan. Also covers the key estimates that are included in the net pension liability, as well as the deferred inflows and outflows. Note 13 summarizes changes from previously issued financial statements to the financial statements that you have in front of you. There were a few items that were included in previous issued financial statements that required correction. Those corrections are summarized in Note 13 on page 129 of your packet. As you move down the page a little further, you'll see that the timing of the completion of the audit procedures was delayed to allow the city to close and reconcile certain general ledger accounts. On a go-forward basis, it would be anticipated that financial statements were not issued in October. The timing for issuance in future years is targeted towards the March timeframe. Under the caption corrected misstatements, I want to highlight that the bullets underneath that caption have all been corrected and are all reflected in the financial statements that you have in front of you. Further down the page, disagreements with management. We are pleased to report that we had no disagreements with management as we completed our audit procedures. We did ask management to represent to us certain representations. They did so. On page 177, under the caption Other Matters, there are items that are included in the annual financial report that are beyond the scope of the basic financial statements. Those are highlighted into 3 paragraphs, as well as varying levels of assurance that we provide on those. The first paragraph highlights required supplementary information. Auditors do not opine on the required supplementary information. The combining schedules include a in relation to opinion to the financial statements as a whole. Those were fairly stated. And the last paragraph identifies other information in the financial statements, the introductory section. And again, the introductory section is not opined upon by external auditors. Also included in your packet, on page 152, there's an internal control and compliance report. As the finance director identified, there were findings that were identified. Those are included in that internal control and compliance report. On page 154 of your packet is the report on the audit of federal funds. That is also a clean audit opinion and unmodified audit opinion on the major programs. The findings begin on page 160 of your packet, and the corrective action that management has provided begins on page 170 of that packet. That concludes my brief overview, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. White, thank you for the information. We met earlier today, and I appreciate the input that you provided me. I know I had questions at that time. I met along with Mayor Pro Tem Wharton. I believe you have met with other members of the City Council as well, so thank you for the information. I know I've asked the question previously, but of the items that you found, I know that they had been previously looked at by other auditors, and you're a fresh set of eyes looking at this, at our books, if you will. Is there an item that really stands out for you? I know the bank reconciliation was one item that you thought was very important. Are there any other items that you think that we need to look at very closely?
Yeah, I'd say each one of those, from an external audit standpoint, is important.
Sure.
But as you mentioned, the first item, finding number 1 on the bank reconciliations, if I had to pick a starting point, what to attack first, that would be the first item. They were, in my opinion, they're all important, but that would be
certainly
the highest level of importance.
Certainly. All right. Any questions from council?
I just have just a comment and a question. So I do appreciate having in our backup material the corrective action plan. So that was very helpful, to go through. I know this is a pretty involved process. Could you, Mr. White, just highlight? It's something you highlighted with us, but I think it'd be great benefit to the public. Obviously, pension liability, hot button issue up and down the state. We're not the only city. Could you just share again between what is being stated with the 2017 audited liability? But looking at just those small differences by a percentage point, what that liability better or worse can be.
Yeah, absolutely. If you turn to page 127 of your packet, page 127 is the last page of note 11, which is a footnote disclosure for the pension plan, and at the bottom of that page is a sensitivity table. So, as you mentioned, based on the actuarial assumptions that are currently being used and a discount rate of 7.65%, right in the middle of that table on the bottom right, you'll see that the liability currently measured is $21.4 million. Small adjustments to that 7.65% have a significant impact on that number. A 1% decrease down to 6.65 increases that liability to $31.7 million, and a 1% increase up to 8.65 decreases that liability to $12.9 million. Currently in the financial statements, $21.4 million is the measured amount. But as you point out, slight changes in that one assumption has a significant impact on that liability.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr.
I just had one other that may not be directed at Mr. White, but our finance director. I did also, in reviewing the backup material, was there, I know some recent accounting we've gone through with, and I don't know if it wouldn't be reflected in 2017, but I'm curious with the San Gabriel decision and kind of our payroll potential, is there any?
The significance of the San Gabriel case has not been evaluated in this
Okay.
particular fiscal year.
Got it. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for the information. We appreciate the effort that you put into it and to our accounting staff as well. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for the conversation earlier.
Yes,
Appreciate it very
You
much.
gave a very thorough explanation, and we appreciate your time.
Is there a motion to accept the City of Brawley audited financial statements for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2017?
Also move.
All right, I think there was three motions. There's two motions. There's a tie for first.
motion and a
Is there a
second.
motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second, all right. Any questions or comments from council? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. White, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is regular business. 4B, discussion potential action, request to waive road closure fees for Hidalgo Society's Noche de Fiesta on November 8th, 2018, from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. Backup materials on pages 181 to 185. I know we've discussed the fees in the past, and I know we're looking forward to having a
Further
discussion on that, but I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
All those, well, we'll have a discussion.
I'd like to discuss before we vote.
Motion and a second. What's the discussion?
The discussion is, and this is coming up more frequently, I think we're having more and more road closure requests from nonprofit organizations and also from profit organizations. My concern is as we get more and more road closures, we do affect traffic flow within the city, but we also put more pressure on our city staff to work overtime to close the roads. It's not a reflection of these agencies at all, it's just my observation from this. One of the other issues that I see here is we get more requests for road closures during the cattle call weeks. It can present some additional problems for us. That's not to say that we don't approve these, but I would like us in the future to have that discussion and maybe around January timeframe start talking about whether we charge or not. I think if we charge, we would have less road closures than what we have now, or less requests for road closures.
Good
I
point.
understand the potential for the raising of funds for the agencies that we're talking about, but I also understand that it does create some hardship for the city and for the city staff, and especially during time periods when we're trying to close all the roads for the parade, all the roads for the mariachi festival, and the roads for the chili cook-off, and the other things that we do. And when we add road closures to that, I think we're putting undue pressure on the city to respond to that. And so that's my concern, and what I'd like to see us do is revisit this in the future.
Good point. I think we had discussed it previously that we would revisit this topic in January. So having said that, that's the reason I made the motion to approve the item. So there's a motion, there's a second. Any other discussion, comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is discussion potential action regarding a request to waive road closure fees for Assembly of God Church's Fall Festival on October 31st, 2018, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Backup material is on pages 186 to 193. As we did with the previous one, I would make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's an item that's had a motion and a second. Any discussion or further comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 4D, discussion potential action regarding the request to sell and consume alcohol by Sally and Jamie Butler for a private event on public property at Captain Scott Pace Park on November 3rd, 2018, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Backup materials on pages 194 to 199. and Marja Mello will present this.
Well, this particular item is about as romantic as you can get. Two people in the neighborhood met and grew up with each other over the many years. They were really good friends with Scott Pace at the park. So for their wedding, they are really looking forward to using the park and actually having the wedding in the park, which, I don't know, I just get kind of romantic since I've been married 45 years now, so I think that's really cool. The other thing is that as part of the ceremony, they're going to plant an olive tree in the park in memory of Mr. Pace, and then keep it going in perpetuity for us, which I think is a lovely gesture. The people who are requesting live across the street, so from the park. So it's a family/neighborhood event where they would like to serve alcohol and wine in the park for a part of what they're doing. And then, as Sally Butler explained to me, move indoors later for other goodies. So,
Sure. And I think Hidalgo Society is the sponsoring agency, is that correct?
yes, that's correct, because there needs to be a nonprofit organization
Right.
for any sale and consumption of alcohol,
And they do-
according to city policy.
They do have security and insurance.
They have security for 48 full hours, and they do have insurance that covers, it's extra coverage to cover having alcohol.
Very well. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, there's a second motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain, Mr. Mayor. I live right across the street from that park. So.
Very well. One abstention. All right, well, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discussion and staff direction regarding upcoming budget meetings. Didn't we just finish our budget?
Yeah, didn't we just-
We just already started.
We
another-
finished a great milestone today,
I know.
which was acceptance of the audit, and would respectfully ask that the city council take a look at the November calendar. I know November is full of cattle call events, as well as the Thanksgiving holiday, and our regularly scheduled meetings are for Tuesday the 6th and Tuesday the 20th. Our hope in placing this item on the agenda for discussion today is to get some feedback from council as to whether or not we would like to have a budget ready for your adoption by the 20th. And in light of the desire to hit that target, we see at least one juncture at which key feedback from the council would be needed. So a second meeting date, or a date prior to the 20th, is being requested. That content could be brought forward for the council's consideration on the 6th, but I do want to note that Cowboy Poetry is that evening, and that may not work as a meeting date. So would council, if that is the wish of the council, not to have that kind of content on the 6th, might there be some openness to considering that topic?
November, though, right?
Yes,
November, not, okay.
the
I was
week
just-
of the 12th.
I'm out of town.
Because it won't be ready until.
Bless you, whoever that was. Alma, what's going on
Bless
over
you,
there?
Alma.
You all right?
Are you okay?
I'm absent. I'll be out of town the 13th through, I'll be back, I think, the
And is
16th.
Veterans
Have
Day.
another
holiday.
holiday.
Veterans Day is on.
Yeah, November
Yes.
is tough. But
Monday.
what days are you proposing?
If the 6th wouldn't work, any day other than the 6th, between the 7th and the 16th? Well, to make the 20th, I think we'd probably need a few days of lead time for final direction. Or, if that doesn't work,
The
we could do
6th
it 20 and,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The 6th is a normal council day.
correct.
And last year, we actually didn't, I think we had an early meeting, or we
Right,
did
because of the
something
election.
different because of the election, and also because of Cowboy Poetry.
Yeah.
I'd like to request that we either have that, move the time up on that or something, so that I can go to that event, because it's been an event that I have attended regularly. And it's a good cattle call event, and it's right, this is all right in the middle of cattle call, so,
So for the November
Poetry is much
6th,
more important than.
yes,
than-
I believe so, yes.
for the November 6th meeting, I believe last year we met at 4 PM, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Would
I
that
think
be
that would be
desirable
fine.
to the
At what
council?
time?
That's
4
okay
PM
with me.
on Tuesday the 6th, but it would not be a budget conversation,
I think
is
if we
that?
get into budget, it's gonna take too long.
Okay, So just start time on the 6th at 4 p.m. and then would.
Well, we haven't decided as council yet,
Right,
so
right.
let's
No,
just.
that's right.
If budget didn't occur on the 6th, is there any other time that week, which is cattle call week? And probably
If
not
we
the
do
best.
do that, is there an opportunity to, I mean, it would be an extended meeting, but if we could start even earlier, from like 2 to 5 or something like that, you know?
That
just
would
to
work
kinda,
too.
you
I
know,
would be
Just
willing
to
to
get
do
the,
that.
to get the budget discussion
Get the
done.
budget done,
That
I would be
work-
willing to
that
do
would
that.
work well for
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
could do.
Would that work, Mr. Hamby?
On the 6th, you're saying?
Yeah, on the 6th.
2
2 to
PM
5.
to 5, okay.
'Cause we're all here anyway.
That would be perfect.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
That's
yeah, it would work
consensus.
for us.
All right.
And then the 20th would be our regular meeting
Yeah.
date,
Yes.
which is the week
Right.
of Thanksgiving.
Do we want another meeting somewhere in there? She's, with Norma being gone the 13th through the,
No, I think
I
that
just
that
have-
would
we
be
don't
just
need
our
another
regular,
meeting.
yeah, that would take care of it.
that would take
yeah.
care of it? Okay. That's fine.
Maybe if there's a need, if council
Okay.
wished for another
I
date,
think-
we
I
could,
think
we'll
it-
shoot for it at the 6th to ask for.
Yeah.
I think
for
would
that.
be okay.
Yeah.
Is that what
sounds
you
good.
needed?
I
Yes,
appreciate
that's
All
it.
right, thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thank you very
the
much.
2 to 5.
But 2 p.m.
2 to 5.
Yeah, yes.
Wink at me.
No.
Well, come on, man. All right, well, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the departmental reports. 5A, Marjo Mello, Interim Parks and Recreation Director, regarding 2018 Catacall events. Backup materials on page 200. Ladies, take care. Thank you.
And speaking of cowboy poetry, we have a really nice list of the events, starting with the chili cook-off on...
Can you please do it in rhyme as
In
if
the
you were
third-
Sing it?
Yeah, can you sing it, please?
You do not want to hear me sing. I led a singing group with little kids, and they were all standing here like this. So you do
Okay.
not want me to sing. Do we have any singers? Luke?
I'm sure we do.
Luke, you want to sing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I guess that was
Luke's
a big
a
enough
singer.
hint, huh?
Yeah,
Covered the
Luke's
and,
a
ears.
singer.
and if you'd given me some moments, I probably could have come up with a
A
rap
little,
for
that's
it.
true, a little rhyme for it,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
I'll bring the 2 turntables.
Okay. Chili cook-off, so we have to have some music. The chamber mixer, I'm sorry.
chamber mixer.
Which is really good. It's going to be at Las Chabelas this year, which is a little bit of a change.
Okay.
And their patio's gorgeous, so that
Yeah.
should be nice.
That's interesting.
And then cowboy poetry is on Tuesday night.
Okay.
The children's mini rodeo, which is absolutely adorable, is on Wednesday, November 7th. I'm sorry, there's a lot of comment here. And mariachi night, and I don't know if anybody can do the trill, the... Never mind, anyway. Can do the mariachi
Oh, yeah.
trill.
not
I'm not good at
politically
that.
Really looks like she could, should be
Politically
able to do it.
correct
Surely looks like-
anymore.
I'm sorry, everybody
Politically
needs a
correct
couple of
anymore.
cervezas first.
There you
Okay.
go. Hey, now we're talking.
Now,
Okay.
now that
Then we
makes
have
sense.
the cowbell tri-tip dinner. Where's the beef? Right
Where's the
there
beef?
at the Lions Center.
Thursday.
Okay, the Ivy Cancer Resource Center Chuck Wagon Breakfast,
Chuck Wagon.
which is wonderful pancakes, bacon, and lots of syrup, starts at 5 o'clock on the morning of the parade. So that's where everybody gets their energy. And hopefully the young people in BUHS Wrestling Booster Club will come have some
5K
pancakes
run.
before they do their 5K run, which is up and down Main Street, which is already closed. And I think, from what I've heard, this is open to the public too, so other people can run with them. They'll
Donnie
probably...
will be there.
Yeah.
Donnie
Yeah.
will be there, none of the rest of us run.
And then our coup d'etat, the cattle call parade, it starts at 9:45, is over usually by about 5 minutes to 12 from my experience, because I have been to that many times. And then we have the cattle call rodeo, which is professional and really exciting. On Saturday, there's one at 2 p.m. and one at 7. And then on Sunday, November 11th, which is also Veterans Day, they'll have one at 1 o'clock, and they will be honoring the veterans who are also in the parade at that event. And another event on November 11th is where people walk in support of veterans from Westmoreland to Brawley. And at our memorial that we have out here, when they get to Motel 6, they all wait, and then they keep walking together. They're going to stop at the memorial for a prayer and taps, which always makes me cry just thinking about taps, and have that event on that morning at 11, because Armistice Day was on 11/11 at 11 a.m., so they're going to be doing that at 11 a.m. So I wanted to add that. And then in preparation for cattle call, I am absolutely excited to say 4 of our 6 new bleachers are in. And we should applaud for that one, because that was a lot of work on behalf of Miguel and his team, and Linda. So we're excited. We have 2 more coming, probably on the weekend. He's been working lots of Saturdays when they come in and putting them up. And if you want to see one, you can go to the Del Rio soccer field, and that one is one of the new ones.
Fantastic.
And I got to look at it today, and it's still shining.
Awesome.
Okay, so that's the good stuff coming up for cattle call.
And great work today at the senior center.
Thank
Fantastic,
you.
yeah.
We are thrilled with how the senior center turned out, and thank you again to everybody who came. We had a really fun time, and anytime you start with seniors doing Zumba, including one who's in her 90s, you can't have anything but a great event. So we
All right.
thank everybody for being there today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right. We're going to move forward on the agenda and skip around a little bit. We'll get back to some items, but we'll start with the city clerk's report. City clerk.
Just a reminder, the league dinner next Thursday, the
All
Town Park.
right. Fantastic. All right. Thank you.
Was the location?
Town Park,
Yeah.
All right.
Westmoreland, 25th.
All right. Our city attorney's report. Nothing. We have closed session. All right. Our city manager's report.
2 quick items. I am working with the DTSE, Chevron, Pure Grow project on a survey instrument that will be part of Mariachi Night. So we're hoping to have a public information booth. Because of the large turnout, our hope will be to actually get these surveys completed to assist with the workshop planning for the event. So wanted to share that with council and community. And also note that we did go out to bid for our Lions Center pool heating project. We're trying to get the word out that the cold temperatures are a temporary state, and we're hopeful that we'll have the heating back in place for the beginning of 2019.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think just on that, I don't know if there was a correction on the website, but the way it was communicated on the website made it seem like it was closed until the heaters are going to be put in. If that could be clarified,
Okay.
that the pool remains
Open, will remain
open for those who wish to be cold, yeah.
All right.
Polar bears, polar bears.
Cold-blooded individuals,
The
maybe?
polar bear challenge.
Wetsuit.
That's
Wetsuit.
cold.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that your report?
Yes.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Donnie Wharton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was fortunate in participating in the first breast cancer awareness bike ride that took place from Buckland Park to Holtville Park. There was some great camaraderie, some awareness, and certainly some funds were raised. In addition, enjoyed today's, as mentioned, and I'm sure the rest of my council members will mention, the senior center ribbon cutting. Fantastic event, just a tremendous job for everyone that was involved in that. The facilities are much improved, so I'm sure that'll continue to be a point of pride and be enjoyed by all that use that facility. Had also just one-to-one conversations, not going to come up yet, but I do like to report it out. About the interest levels still being there with providing additional services at our municipal airport. I think we're going to wait till after we get through the budget cycle and some of the heavy lifting we have to do to bring that conversation back. But had some conversation around that. Some of my colleagues here may have had these conversations. You may not have, but I have had some recent engagement with a developer that's expressed their interest and has been in our council chambers here a couple different times with the Latigo Ranch project. So I do want to report out that conversation that I did have, and I know that, again, working closely with staff to come to potentially some presentable item that might come through the city channels, the appropriate channels. So outside of that, I want to mention one other thing. I would like just something to explore. It's not any kind of discussion item even at this point, but a conversation that I did have with council member Hamby a little bit earlier, about maybe taking a look with staff, exploring the idea of having a little bit more of maybe a fast track or a process for us to be able to use more of our volunteer resources as we have for small projects around the city. Great example, a very near and dear example, is right next to us with some of the work that was done on the federal property here with the post office. But we all know, again, that took some heavy lifting and some enthusiasm from some of our community members. So just in that discussion, I think we've brought up multiple times, hey, we'd like to do this, we'd like to do that. There's an appetite for that. If we can come up with maybe more of a streamlined process that is in alignment with the city, in alignment with staff, whatever that may be, and we can look in maybe harnessing and leveraging more of our community members that want to get some of these relatively smaller projects going, but I think it's some great community pride, as well as a way we can all benefit. So I just wanted to put that out. I don't know if we can look at some examples of how we can do that. They could be painting projects, it could be other things. So outside of that, Mr. Mayor, that's my report, and look forward to the cool weather as you've already mentioned with the many events coming up.
All right, well, thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Wharton, we'll move on to Councilmember Couchman.
Okay. Well, I attended the Fire Department open house, the Food Bank Harvest Bowl, the Cattle Call Queen coronation, and the Salico event for Miguel Miranda Memorial fundraising event, all on the same day. That was interesting. I did the walk to school with Phil Swing students. My granddaughter is at Phil Swing, and so I walked to school with those students. Really fun time, and appreciate the police and fire department being there to help out with that. I went to the adult prom fundraising for the Brawley Union High School cheer leaders, the cheer section there. They raised funds that way. So there was an adult prom at the Stockman's Club, and my wife made me go. So, and then I went to the
That's a good reason why, yeah.
Kicking and screaming. No, not really. But then I went, and it was a great event. And then I went to the Doves dinner, Donors of Valley Endeavors. They had that over in Hopeville at a home near the country club. So that was a nice event. I went to the Sacred Heart Barbecue this weekend. I assisted the Seroptimus Club in their turkey fundraising dinner. And I attended 2 Brawley youth football games, one in Imperial and one here in Brawley. So I've been around in the last week or two with a lot of events, and it looks like we're going to have a lot more. So I'm looking forward to the cattle call, and we'll see how that all goes. And with that, that's my report.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Couchman. Councilmember Norma Kestner-Howdy.
Okay, I attended some of the same events as Sam did. I did attend the Hidalgo Society Dia de la Raza event last Saturday, where they honored 2 locals for Hispanics of the Year, so that was nice. That was one of the road closures that we approved. And so they had live music out there and pretty good attendance, so that was enjoyable. And then I also attended, I was invited to do a presentation for the senior club at the senior center, and I provided them with an update and fielded a lot of their questions regarding things that are happening in the community, and promised to get back to them on some of the issues. And then I also attended the Housing Authority meeting, and that was pretty interesting. They were actually reported that they had gotten a pretty good size grant from the IID, and they also are, I was kind of surprised to hear that Andrew Rourke is planning on retiring. So if you know of anyone that's interested in a position over there with, that's a big agency that provides a lot of great services in the community and for housing. So that was a very good meeting. And then I did make the cattle call queen competition, and that was also, like they indicated, very well attended, and I understand now why they needed a bigger location, because it was standing room only, and I imagine there was probably, at least 200 people there?
I would estimate at least that.
And so very proud of our girls that competed. It was kind of interesting that all of the contestants were either from Brawley or Imperial. And actually, I think Imperial had more contestants than Brawley. So I was thinking, what's going on? We need the Brawley girls out there. So I was happy to see that Brandy Whittle was the queen, and all of them have to be recognized for their great job in representing their particular city. They did an outstanding job. And then this morning, I attended also the Senior Center ribbon cutting, and I think that particular center is one of the best that we have to offer here in the Valley, and especially in Brawley. We're really all very proud of that particular center, and it's really nice to see all the folks out there that really enjoy it. And I even mentioned that you and I, Sam, are probably the only eligible ones to be able to to partake in those activities. But the city,
I'm younger.
but the
You were
city,
doing Zumba.
but the city business keeps us really busy. So anyway,
I'm
it's
not
great.
going to Zumba.
That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Mr. Luke Camby.
Thank you, Mayor. I got to attend for a short period of time a campaign event for Karen Morgan, running for school board, and got to see some current and former Parks and Rec employees, and that was nice to see them out and about. I attended a Brownfields Initiative meeting last Thursday at the Del Rio branch of the library. It's they've got some grant funds from the EPA for people who are wanting to buy or sell buildings in the downtown area that may or may not have environmental issues, but there's money there to at least assess those, whether those issues exist or not. I was invited to attend the Beautifying Our Old Town Committee meeting that took place at Sylvia's Little Treasures last week. I will point out that the acronym for that is BOOT, and so it has sort of that that Old Town Brawley feel. But anyway, their goal is to, yes, beautify old downtown Brawley, but with holidays approaching, they would like to try to decorate and beautify the city that way. And I think part of what they're going to approach the city about is either electrical supply or allowing them to string lights maybe on some of the columns in the downtown area. So that would be one of the things that Sylvia was referring to as far as help that they can get from the city. It seemed to be a productive meeting and a lot of energy there, and I hope that they are successful with decorating downtown, kind of reminiscent of the way things were before, when there was a lot more activity and vibrancy there in decades past. I received several phone calls from community members who were impressed with the way the condition of the parks around town are improving, and they wanted me to pass that along to the Parks and Rec Department, to Marjo and Miguel and Linda and others, and also got some calls of appreciation for having the dumpsters removed from Plaza Park, understanding that there are some challenges that presents. I also attended the ribbon cutting for the senior center this morning and got to have some good conversations with some of the attendees there, and conversations with some of the senior citizens that enjoy the facilities that we have there. And they still have lots to offer our community. They have a lot of good ideas for making improvements that benefit seniors and those with handicaps, and so it's always enjoyable to go there. I attended the Harvest Bowl along with Mayor Pro Tem Wharton and Councilmember Couchman, albeit he was not there for, I think, the whole thing, because he had other places to be.
No, I had to go to the Queen coronation.
I saw the police going by quickly. I didn't know if he's getting pulled over for speeding or something. No?
No. I drive slow now that I'm aging, like
speeding.
Norma says.
Yeah.
Now that
I included
now that I'm a
myself
senior
in this.
citizen, I drive a lot slower.
And then, like Mayor Pro Tem Wharton, I did go from Buckland Park to Holtville, but I drove that distance. And I also attended a Parks and Rec meeting today after the Senior Citizen Center ribbon cutting. We just took that opportunity to sit down in the shade there, the beautiful new overhang that they have, pergola that they have there, and had our meeting there. And it was productive, and I'm pleased to see the involvement and enthusiasm that the Parks and Rec Commission has for all things parks. That's my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll keep mine very brief. I did attend the Senior Center ribbon cutting today. Great improvement. Took about 90 days and a lot of people to get that to happen. So happy to see those improvements, and of course the other improvements at Hinojosa Park and others took place at the same time. But I would like to just share something on a personal note. For the past several months, I've been a little bit removed from the day-to-day activity. I've been very involved in something that I've invested in here in the city of Brawley, and it's about a $250,000 investment. It's a building that I purchased in downtown Brawley that I've been rehabilitating, and very soon I think I'm going to be able to open its doors, and so I'm excited about that. It's a big improvement, I think, for the downtown specific plan area, and I've mentioned it to some people. I don't say it to pat myself on the back, but it's just a note, a personal note, that it's a big investment for me. It's taken a tremendous amount of energy and work. I've been getting up at 2 in the morning every day for the past like 11 weeks. And so it's a big project that I've been working on. And I mention it because it's one improvement amongst many that are taking place within Brawley. And so it takes money, it takes time, it takes energy to invest in the city of Brawley. And I'm hoping that it inspires some other people to do the same. But, you know, this is a building that sat vacant for quite some time. And I'm very proud of the work that I've done there, along with some other people that have helped me. And I'm excited about it, and I hope that people get to enjoy it. In the coming weeks, I'll have something like a grand opening and invite the public out and have a good time out there, eat some food, drink some drinks, and, you know, have some music and enjoy it. And so, you know, it's just one thing that I've always said is that if you're going to talk about improving the community, you have to do it yourself too. And so that's part of what I'm doing, and I know that others on council and others, to include our city attorney and his family, have invested in improving our downtown as well. But I'm doing my little part, and I hope you can all come out and enjoy it. I know I've put a lot of effort into it, and I'm proud of it, and I hope that it inspires some others. So I don't really like to talk about what I do personally, but I think it makes a lot of sense in this case, me being mayor, me being on the city council, and I want people to know that I am really going to put my energy where I say I'm going to, and that is in investing in our community. So I could have done it in El Centro, I could have done it in Imperial, but I chose to locate in Brawley, and I chose to buy a building in Brawley. So it's not just leasing one, it's buying one, making that investment, and so I'm proud of it. I'm excited about it, and I'm finally getting some sleep, which is a good thing, and that makes all the difference in the world. So come join me soon. I'll announce it. I'll probably post it on social media, but it'll be an open invitation to the public to come by and check things out. So I hope you can join me, and I just want to thank you all very much for your patience over the past couple of months. It's been a long one for me, a long few months for me, but I'm excited about it, and I look forward to having you all over as guests, and I hope you like it. So anyway.
Mr. Mayor, well, congratulations. I know we'll have an opportunity to do that on that, and it just prompted a thought. I'm sure you've had some waste. I didn't mention, but the city dump waste event that we had put on, I actually participated this year, and again, my personal experience was how well organized and executed it was. So for all those, including with obviously staff that helped to facilitate that, it went very well and had a great experience. Went twice, and so I'm sure probably you handled your construction waste ahead of time, so you probably didn't have to take advantage of that. But and again, it was very well done, so I just wanted to mention that.
Fantastic. All right. Well, everybody, those are our reports, and do want to thank you all for coming out here, and thank everybody for coming out and participating. It's great to see you all. I hope you enjoy the weather. Have a good one, and until next time, we're going to take a few minutes before we go into closed session. So thank you all very much.
Mayor, just a reminder of the PMH Gala this Thursday night.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it. Yeah.